High school football is back on Friday night, just 2 nights from now. A successful week one of Drive to the Game, Lake Orion and Northville as part of the Amazon Prep Kickoff Classic over at Wayne State University. Now week two, another really good matchup coming between Rochester and Rochester Adams. If you're a high school football fan like myself, you want to make sure you're tuning in every Friday night here on WJR Radio, SportsCaster. And WJR have teamed up for Drive to the Game. So if you're unable to get to the game yourself, you're going to be in the car on Friday night, but you want to get your fix for high school football, you can tune in. You can also check us out on the YouTube channel, also at sportscaster.com, and make sure that you're able to get your fill of Friday night lights and a good matchup again this week between Rochester and Rochester Adams. Giovanni Moceri is an aspiring sports broadcaster. He graduated from Oakland University. He'll be anchoring our coverage throughout the high school football season, and he gives us a preview of what we need to know heading into the week two matchup of Drive to the Game. Here is Giovanni Moceri.
My name is Giovanni Moceri, and I'll be your host still for week two of Drive to the Game. Last week was a great event at Wayne State for the Amazon Prep Kickoff Classic to kick things off for the high school season. Well, now we're still in the high school season, and we're still getting things rolling with some great matchups. This week in particular, week two of season two of Drive to the Game features a Rochester rivalry. Rochester High School will be visiting their neighbors in Rochester Adams for week two of the season. That'll be at 7 o'clock kickoff from Adams High School, and you can listen to the pregame here on sportscaster.com as well as our YouTube channel that kicks off at 6:45, and after kickoff we'll be on 760 AM WJR as well. So plenty of ways to tune in and listen to this matchup in Michigan high school football. In recent matchups between these two teams, if you're so close, you play each other every year. The community gets involved and they love it as well. And in the past 4 years, you look at the matchups, and it's been quite a show for the Adams Highlanders. 2 shutouts in a row. At 2024, a 28-0 victory for Adams at Rochester High School. And in 2023, a 35-0 Adams win at home at Adams. So Rochester High School, they have not scored on the Highlanders since September 1st of 2022. And this will be their chance to crack into that and find themselves in an underdog position looking to get the upset. We'll break down the two teams here. We'll start with the Rochester Adams Highlanders, who come into this season on the coattails of a state semifinals run. Despite a foot injury to their starting quarterback in Ryland Waters, they were still able to get all the way to there on, at the leadership of Nolan Francis, who filled in at the quarterback spot and played admirably. But luckily for the Highlanders, they get Waters back. It was his junior year that he got hurt in, and he is still able to get into this season, his senior year, and try and make his stamp and make up for lost time for the Highlanders. He, as a commit to Ferris State University, is one of the key returners on offense, alongside Cam DeWood at running back and Matt Tropner, as well as their O-lineman Henry Hittel, and Noah Francis returns once again at the quarterback spot, as well as playing wide receiver. They have five returning defenders as well. Tropner playing both sides of the ball along with others. And for this team, in the OAA Red, last year they finished 10-3 overall, 2-2 in the OAA Red, and like I said, had that huge semifinals run. But despite all of that, despite recent success, they're still picked 4th in the OAA Red. But from everywhere I've read, everyone who's close to the program and has written about it, they won't be surprised to see the Highlanders back on top in the conference, because of just how competitive that OAA Red is. And we saw it last week with Lake Orion, who's also a member of the conference. It's just a battle in that every year. So a 2-2 conference record is definitely nothing to sneeze at for the 5-team conference. And in their first week of play, they played 3rd place in the MAC Red from last year, the Romeo Bulldogs, and put the bulldozer to them 34-7 for a victory for the Highlanders. It was 10-0 before the end of the first quarter. Although Romeo was able to make it close before halftime, 17-7, it was still the Highlanders all the way through. 403 total yards of offense, 276 on the ground, and 127 in the air. Senior quarterback Ryland Waters, they call him the Rhino, where he had a fantastic game. 4 total touchdowns coming through him. 2 of them through the air, where he was 5 for 5, 112 yards, perfect in the air, as well as rushing for 2 touchdowns as well, 11 carries for 67 yards. Part of the offense was also had by Matt Tropner at the running back spot. 3 catches for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns coming off of a short pass that went all the way for 60 yards on the very first play from scrimmage. He also rushed for 6 carries at 35 yards, and Lorenzo Sartor had a catch for 15 yards as well as 11 carries for 118 yards. There was a whole lot of Highlanders going on against the Bulldogs, and a high-powered offense is what the Highlanders bring into this matchup. And now going into the Rochester Falcons in the OAA White Division. Last year, they finished up 4-5 and 1-3 in OAA White play. They also have a great group of returners coming back for both sides. 5 of them on offense, 3 of them on defense. Great senior leadership is how this team is scouted, along with great spots at the skill positions as well as their running game. And not only that, but the Falcons have great experience at the head coaching spot as well. 17 years at the head coaching spot for Eric Vernon, but that is also matched and then some for the Adams side. Tony Petrito has been the head coach of the Highlanders for 23 seasons now. So a combined 30 years of Rochester rivalry experience makes this matchup all the more sweeter. We'll see what kind of tricks up their sleeves each coaches have for each other. It's been at least 17 years that they've seen each other just about every season. Last week they played Frazier, who finished 6th place in the MAC Blue. The Ramblers did not do well against these Falcons. 35-0 was the final score of that game. We're putting both teams at 1-0 coming into this rivalry matchup. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see, but still, the Falcons have to get that taste out of their mouth. They got to score against the Highlanders. You cannot have your crosstown rival shut you out 3 years in a row. This year, I believe they have the team to be able to break that streak and make this one quite a competitive matchup. And I want to bring it back to the most recent matchup, the 28-0 win for the Rochester Adams Highlanders. It was 364 days ago, just short of an exact year ago. It was 3 rushing touchdowns for Waters, as well as the Rochester Adams defense holding the Falcons couldn't get past their 43-yard line. So that's the kind of performance that they've had. So it's going to be an underdog matchup for the Falcons against the Highlanders, and you can listen to it here on WJR as well as SportsCaster.com, our website and YouTube channel, and we'll have interviews both with players and coaches, our student broadcasters who will be with Chris Renwick on the play-by-play. We'll be having a great time at Rochester Adams High School, and we hope you guys can join us as well. Be sure to follow us on Instagram as well as anywhere else you see us on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and tune in to us 6:45 for the pregame show on our YouTube channel before we kick things off to Chris Renwick on WJR. We'll see you for week 2 of season 2 of Drive to the Game. My name is Giovanni Moceri.
All right, so we're all looking forward to Friday night's matchup, a big one between Rochester and Rochester Adams. Our thanks to Giovanni Moceri for helping set the table. And we will tap back into to his knowledge coming up on Friday night as we get into our high school football coverage. Also want to thank our other guests who were on the program this week. Christy Dosh, the author of her new book, The Athlete's NIL Playbook, the complete guide to owning and profiting from your name, image, and likeness. If you're out at a bookstore and that interests you, take a look. Look for it. Very good stuff, informative stuff. Again, as we are in I wouldn't say uncharted territory, but certainly newer territory when it comes to that respect, and really understanding all that goes into NIL and how it impacts the student athletes and the universities with which they play. I want to thank Aiden Novak for his time and his interview with Christy Dosh. Also want to thank Carter Lutz from the University of Miami for making sure that we know what we're doing as we head into fantasy football season. For those of you that do participate in fantasy, best of luck to you. Don't bet too much with your heart, or maybe, who knows, it's not for me to say, but anyway, fantasy football season upon us as the Lions get ready to kick off the regular season on Sunday against the Packers in Green Bay. So a good show this week. Again, we'll be rooting on the Tigers here down the stretch. Big series coming up against the White Sox coming up this weekend after an off day. And then obviously with high school football and then college football coming up this weekend, Michigan on the road at Oklahoma, Michigan State at home against Boston College. So a lot to look forward to this weekend and a lot to look forward to before we see you again every Wednesday night right here on WJR Radio. It is open mic from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Johnny Kane, your host. Until next time, have a great week.